Hello and welcome to the Football Home podcast. We are live and ready to go. So we will be looking quickly at the player and the manager of the month nominees for December. The managers of the month nominees are Mikel Arteta, Thomas Frank, and Eddie Howe. Arsenal and Newcastle both unbeaten during December, and Brentford had a good month with results including a 2-1 victory over Man City. Andreas, your thoughts on the nominees? Anyone particularly stand out?
I have to be a little bit biased here and go with Thomas Frank. Um, but like honestly, I think like if you compare what he has to do with, I think he has done the best job because clearly the bigger clubs, it's much easier. So I think if you just look at Brentford, what he has been able to do with them is amazing. Like I'm really surprised about that. So in that way, I really feel like he deserves it. And especially this month, I feel like they have looked really strong. Where with Newcastle and Arsenal, it's like I think we've talked about it before, and that's a part of this manager of the month and player of the month stuff. That like, what did Newcastle or Arsenal do this month that was better than the other months? Because
Yeah,
Arsenal and Newcastle have been so great every month. So there's nothing special about this month for them in particular, where I feel like Brentford really have shined a lot this month. But there's also the other thing that is that Newcastle and Arsenal is unbeaten, and I think that's something you also need to take into consideration. And Brentford sadly is not that. So it depends on how you're looking at it. Are you looking at like Brentford doing amazing with what they have, or are you looking at Newcastle and Arsenal just continue being almost unbeaten and yeah, just continuing being really strong? So I feel like all three of them has a good case for winning this. My bias says Thomas Frank, but I think you can easily go with either of the other two as well. I think I will go with Newcastle's manager. I forgot his name right now.
Eddie Howe.
Thank you. I think I will go with him. But any of those three have a solid case, to be honest.
Warren, your thoughts?
Yeah. So we've covered this in the past. Arteta has already won it, and Eddie Howe has already won it. So I'm going to, and this is not even me being biased or anything. I think Thomas Frank deserves that,
Mm.
just based on improvement, and what the amount of challenges that that club had to overcome in the last month or so. Being able to win against City, not every club can do that. Not every club can, beat um, all these big clubs. Um, people, I do think people underestimate Brentford, and there was times in the beginning of the season where people thought, oh, maybe Thomas Frank is in danger, maybe things are not going too well with Brentford, but he managed to turn it around. He got a new contract as well that's going to keep him at the club till 2027, I think. So it's a bit of a stretch. The fact that the management also the club owners has like that confidence in him says a lot as to what he's injected into that team. They're just becoming stronger and stronger. They showed it the other night against Liverpool as well when they didn't have Tony and they managed to get different scorers on the board, and they just everything that they've done on that pitch. You could see the training sessions play out there. You can see where how the set pieces have been trained on and stuff like that. And that is a lot of the like Andreas said that you are going to expect every month that Arteta and Eddie Howe and even Pep is going to be in that equation for being in the running for manager of the month. So I do like the fact that you've got all these differentials now coming in, and they do deserve the credit. So I'm going to go with Thomas Frank of Brentford.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think Frank is probably the standing out candidate. Like Andreas said, Arteta and Eddie Howe do this every week. Nothing new. Whereas kind of Brentford have kind of surprised people more this month than. In a way, I'm surprised Eric Ten Hag isn't up there actually, but that's a discussion for another day. We'll move on to the Player of the Month nominees. And the nominees here are Casemiro, Erling Haaland, Ben Mee, Martin Odegaard, João Paulinho, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Kieran Trippier. Anybody particularly stand out to you guys, Andreas? There,
Ødegaard. Ødegaard, as you guys want to say it. Ødegaard. I think he's like. I think Warren was the one that actually said it in the past. And I kind of saw it already, but after Warren said it, I was like, okay, this is actually really, really spot on. And that's the fact that Ødegaard is such a huge part of Arsenal. And I think Arsenal will really be in trouble without him, because he really is that playmaker, that MVP that makes the entire flow of the offensive go round. So I think he is really, really solid as as an option for this. Trippier as well just continues being amazing and so important for Newcastle. I think Rashford and Casemiro I think have a case with this, but my pick is Ødegaard.
Warren.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the same page today. I'm gonna say Odegaard of Arsenal. I think if you look at what Arsenal is doing, how consistently they are performing, and he's one of the youngest captains in the league right now, and he is doing a fine job. He's the glue that holds that team together. All the creative passing to the back and the front comes through Odegaard. So I do think he's a big contender. I think if anybody out there deserves it, he gets it. But I do think Rashford his name needs to be thrown in that hat as well as the second runner-up. I do think that Trippier is great and everything, but like we said with the bosses, even Trippier is gonna be there in the mix every week, because if you look at the points that he racks up in fantasy as well, all the passes, all the assists that he's getting, he's gonna be there, and he's probably gonna win like 10 of these in the span of the tournaments that's coming up. But I do believe that Odegaard, it's between Odegaard and Rashford for me. Casemiro, close third, but for me, it's between Rashford. Rashford has done amazing even before the World Cup, during the World Cup, coming after the World Cup. He's been on fire. So you can't deny that. So for me, it's between Odegaard and Rashford as for the Player of the Month.
I'd be saying Bukayo Saka, actually, personally. I think he'd be a good. I think he's done fairly well. I can see you don't like that idea, Warren.
No, it's not that I don't like it. We just on a different. I don't know. I don't get the hype about him. Sorry, I don't. I don't get the hype about Saka. I've never had him in my fantasy, even for that same reason. I don't get the hype around him. He's a hit and miss for me. He's a slow starter. It's like he's not as honored as Odegaard for me. If you've got Odegaard, you will know 100% you're gonna get a solid performance from him. That's just how I view it.
Yeah.
But you've got your opinion. I mean, I can't go against it.
No, like Odegaard is a very good option, and I would be very in favor of that. I'm just saying that for me, that I would have Saka up there as well as an option as a thing. But anyway, we will move on to the Premier League results from during the week, and we will start with last night and make our way backwards. Unfortunately, Andreas, that means we come to you.
Oh no!
Chelsea versus Man City. I know Warren didn't watch the match because of load shedding.
I actually watched the match, but so you can.
Did you? Okay, we'll come to you in a bit.
So.
Talk to Andreas first. City lost 1-0. City won 1-0. Chelsea suffered a couple of early injuries yesterday to Raheem Sterling and to Christian Pulisic, which saw both end up going off injured. Andreas, your thoughts? I thought Chelsea were very good in the first half, but kind of just dropped off second half. City weren't all that great, though, to be fair. They didn't really offer a whole lot They were good, but not their clinical selves. Chelsea even kept Erling Haaland quiet,
Yeah.
which not many teams can do.
No, I think like if this match stood completely alone, and if we were not looking at any other result at all, I would be really, really happy with this, because City is a dangerous team. Them only winning with 1 goal, I think, is really, really impressive by us, to be honest. So just looking at this match alone, I'm pretty happy about it. Of course, I wanted a draw. Of course, I wanted a win. But looking just at this, I think it was a good performance by us. The problem is, as soon as you go back and look at Nottingham Forest and a few matches before that as well, that's where it all cracks. And I was not here last time when I assume you guys talked about Nottingham, but that's a problem. Like, that really is a problem. We started great, we did great. Then they score and we are not able to do anything about that. That's a problem. We need to be able to beat teams like Nottingham, and that's the name of the game. Like, you can play fine, it can go well, but like 3 matches, I think it is, since it started back up, we won 1, we lost 1, and we draw 1, and it's not good enough. And right now we are 10th in the league. It's not good enough. And that's the story of it, and it's really difficult because, like, we have a lot of injuries. That's a problem now. But in general, I feel like we have done a decently job, but it's just not enough to win. And I think we get back to that problem with the mentality not quite being there. I have a friend that's a huge Chelsea fan like me, and he's not a fan of Potter. And I think that's a thing that's starting to get to people, that people are questioning, is Potter the right choice for this? I know a lot of people still think Tuchel was a good manager. I also do, but I still think there is potential with Potter. I do. But it is a trend that's starting to get there, that people are questioning Potter. And then it's starting to get a little bit of a problem. I hope we get some signings now here. We have already signed a few young players. But yeah, I'm starting to get worried. And it's annoying because I actually really love the formation that he's starting to use. I think he finally started to use the players the right way, but it's not giving us the wins we need, and therefore you can't really talk good about it, because if you don't win, it really doesn't matter if you like to see the formation. So yeah, it's a problem right now, and I'm starting to get worried. But I think just looking at this match, I think we did a good enough job, and it's just frustrating that we have had this problem for a while now with not winning.
Yeah.
And also there is a problem with goals, and that is a reality. We are not scoring enough goals. I think defensively it's going okay, actually. Not great, but not bad either. But there is a problem with those goals, and that will keep being there until something happens. And I know quickly, and Kunku, I heard talks about him first coming in the summer window. So that's a problem, and something we need to figure out now, because with both Pulisic, who was the other one you said?
Sterling,
yeah, that, like, we can't miss both of them. So
Obviously,
there's
Mount didn't even play because he was injured.
Yeah, he was as well. So yeah, but there really are some problems there, and I'm starting to get worried. I am.
Yeah, like if you look at the injury list, I know Richard posted up in the group chat yesterday. You've got Kante, Broja, Reece James, Wesley Fofana, Ben Chilwell, Mount, and now Sterling and Pulisic all injured. That's a good chunk of the team, especially Chilwell and James, because they're kind of key to what Chelsea do, and they're key to Chelsea's attack. Pretty much, they create a lot of it. Obviously, there's no kind of real striker in the team, which we've talked about, which is a problem. I'm not sure that Graham Potter is necessarily the problem. I think Chelsea were poor even before he came. I think he needs time to build a team of his own, because he's inherited this squad from previous managers. He hasn't had the chance necessarily yet to make his own team. I thought Conor Gallagher was very good, actually. I don't know why I think he's very underrated, and I don't know why he's not starting more. He worked very hard last night. He was chasing everything when he came on. should he be starting, do you think, in the midfield? You saw what he could do last season, obviously, for Palace.
Yeah.
Why aren't Chelsea giving him that chance?
Mm,
Especially when you look at that midfield, like Zakaria, for instance.
Yeah.
He should easily be playing over like Zakaria.
I think the question. I think first of all, I think he absolutely should. I think Zakaria is actually pretty good. I feel like he's done a good enough job. But I think Gallagher is a star, and he needs to be there every time, in my opinion. But I think the reason is that, if I'm not mistaken, Zakaria has a past with Juventus. I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think he has a past with them. And then there's the other guys, Kovacic, Jorginho. Like, I think Potter wants to go, at least in the midfield, he wants to go with the experienced players. And I think that's what we have seen so far in the midfield. And I get that, but I don't think that's the solution. I think Gallagher needs to be there every time. Have Mount as an attacking midfielder, Gallagher, then Jorginho or Kovacic on the other side.
Yeah, you only need one. You only need one holding defensive midfielder, realistically. Then two creative midfielders.
Yeah,
like Jorginho or Kante can be your holding midfielder, or
Kovacic. Yeah, when he's back.
Like Gallagher and Mount, then.
Yeah, you can have Mount on just normal midfield as well, of course. Center midfield. So yeah, that could work as well. Like, I think there's a lot of options in the midfield. It's just about finding the right way. And I don't think midfield really is the biggest problem. I think they have done a pretty good job in these 3 games so far. I think the problem really is when it comes to the offense. And it's like, I remember I talked about how great it was with Havertz that he finally started to score. He is not working anymore. That was one match, and since then it has been going down. Understandable so, because it's not his normal position, so it makes sense, but it doesn't change the fact that we are not scoring goals. And even guys like Sterling and Pulisic that are now injured, but before then, they are more the ones making the assists, and part of that, they're not really the best ones at making the goals. They can, and Sterling made a great goal in the first match after the break, but that's not really what they are there for. So there really is a problem with scoring those goals. Yeah, and I really think that's the main problem for us right now.
Yeah, I thought the youngster that came on, Lewis Hall, he was very, very good actually.
Yeah.
Him and Gallagher worked very hard, and you could see their energy. He was trying to create things. He's a bright prospect for sure.
He is. Yeah, and again, I think that's with the midfield. I don't really think that's bad at all. Like, they are very young. Of course, you can argue, should they start? Gallagher, I think, should, but Lewis Hall there, you can argue. But no matter what, it's a lot of potential there, and the young guys need to get a chance. And yeah, I think I've seen him before actually, where he was pretty good as well. And yeah, he's a great player. And again, I think midfield, I don't really think there are any problems there. I think it's going great. I think it's not great, but it's going fine enough. It is more offensively that there are problems, and defensively it's not great either. But I think in particular offense, it's just a huge problem right now.
Yeah, and they don't seem to be kind of signing anyone. I know they signed that for Fanagai, but
yeah,
like, I mean, the focus seems to be on the midfield. Like, they're trying to get Enzo Fernandez. Like, they should be trying to get an experienced striker, in my view.
Agree. Yeah, agree. And I think
midfield isn't the problem right now.
What?
Midfield isn't the problem.
No, it's not. It really isn't. And I guess the point is that, like, Jorginho, Kante, it's not young guys. Let's be honest. So I get that they're looking like last window there were talks about De Jong from Barcelona as well. They want younger guys in the midfield, and I get that. But I don't think that's the main problem right now. I think we can at least wait a window before talking about that. I think right now focus should be on wingers and a main striker. I think even defensively, I think the squad there is good enough. Are they maybe a little bit too old? Maybe, but it's not bad. It's more offensively there really are some problems there. And so I agree. I think they need to look more at that, especially knowing that Nkunku will probably first come in the summer. That's a player that I really wanted. So I think they need to look at other options until he's possible, especially with Sterling and Pulisic being out.
Yeah. Warren, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think City wasn't really clinical. I think Chelsea could have beaten City easily had they had the right people playing and didn't succumb to bad luck when it comes to injuries. I know Mount went out before the game started. He got injured the day before. Potter doesn't know how long he will be out for. Potter actually said in the pre-match interview, when it rains, it pours, meaning he's citing to the injuries that's it's compounding, and that was even before Sterling and Pulisic went down. So Chelsea's facing an uphill battle when it comes to squad depth. I feel like Roger's out, Mount is now out as well. City first half was poor. I don't even think Haaland had a single touch in the first half at all. The fact that Chelsea could hold them, I just feel like they dropped the ball a little bit in the second half. Had they kept that pace that they had the first half, we could have easily gotten a point out of the game or even 3 points, because they did have chances in the back in the front line. However, Pep made the right decisions when it comes to substitutions. I think it's Rico Lewis, I think his name is, for City, that came on for Cancelo.
Rico Lewis.
Yeah, he's actually amazing. I do think he's a future star for City. Pep has only good things to say about him. Grealish, I do. A lot of people is giving Grealish a bit of flack, but I do think that Grealish, whenever he starts, City actually does play very well. And a lot of people commented on it. They can't believe that they're happy to say, "Oh my God, Grealish is coming on," and would have thought. And he came on with Mahrez, and less than 5 minutes later, a goal went in. So I don't know what's happening with.
I heard him say in the post-match interview that he was trying to cross it in because he said, "Oh, Haaland will be there somewhere to knock it in." That was his thinking with the cross.
Yeah, and I don't know what's happening with Kevin De Bruyne. He hasn't been the same since Belgium did that little dry spell in the World Cup. Cancelo has been poor. I'm sorry to say it, but he's just not delivering. There's talks about Cancelo being linked with a move to another club. I'm not sure if that's the rumors true, but that's what I'm hearing through the grapevine. I don't foresee Walker and Cancelo actually starting a lot of Premier League games anymore. I do think Pep is going to keep them for, Carabao Cup and FA Cup. And because the other people, Akanji and, Lewis, and they actually doing a massive job there. I'm sad for Chelsea that they couldn't get a point. They had the potential to do it, but I think injury-wise, it's a problem. And they defensively, there's issues. I don't know why Mendy isn't starting over Kepa. I don't know what Aubameyang is doing in that team. He came on as a sub and then he got taken off as a sub. So that says a lot. He doesn't really impact the game. I do agree with you guys that Gallagher needs to start. I think Zachariah was amazing. I think he should start every game. Maybe again, it's coming down to choices of who you put on the field. And I know he's limited to a squad right now because of the injuries, but that's something that Potter needs to evaluate. You must go back to the drawing board and see what is not working and what is working, and then do a recon and implement the changes with the signings for January. But I don't think Potter is the right person for the job, in my opinion. I do think they were very hasty in firing Tuchel. It was 2-3 games into the season. Like I said last time, give the guy some time. It's a new season, and he's not going to perform at his best every single game. But you can't just be firing managers left, right, and center. This guy actually went and got them Chelsea trophies in the past. So you're gonna fire him over 3 bad games? That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. So I do feel that was a hasty decision, but the decision is done. Whether Potter is the right person to step in for Tuchel, that's the other question. I don't foresee Potter staying long at Chelsea.
Fair enough. We will move on and we'll talk about Palace against Spurs. Harry Kane had a field day, 2 goals and assist. Warren, I know you were paying attention to this game.
Yes, it was kind of like the same like with City and Chelsea last night. The first half was a bit bland. It was a bit more. It was yeah, there were chances, but I do think the game really kicked up in the second half. Kane, I mean, that guy's unstoppable. He's 5 goals behind Haaland for the Golden Boot. That says a lot. So he's been delivering for. I think Spurs would be lost without Kane. I know he blanks some games. He does blank, but who doesn't? There's people that blank all the time. There's people that don't blank. There's people that blank here and there. I think Kane is. I think they will be lost without Kane. But I'm so happy for Son. I'm so happy that he got a goal in. Besides the list again. So my only concern was, granted, Tottenham deserved the win. I'm glad they got the dry spell out for losing the last couple of matches and only getting 1 point. But I do think that they need to stop playing for the second half. They need to start playing from the get go strong. You can't be parking the bus and then hope for a comeback in the second half. You're not going to win any trophies like that. You're not going to win the league like that. You're not going to get to Champions League like that. So it's something that needs to be addressed because for me, I feel like everybody's calling Tottenham the comeback kids. Their secrets, their mantra is we'll come back from the death and win a game. But you can't always depend on that, and that's why they're losing some of the matches. But Palace was okay. They had a few chances, but 4-0, it says a lot.
Andreas?
Yeah, I think Palace is in some big problems right now. It's not even like I feel like they're playing bad. Like I don't think they are especially being bad or anything, but it's just not working. And I don't remember if it was the last match or the match before that, but where they got 2 guys sent off the match and ended up losing pretty big as well. So that defensively there really are some problems there. And on the other hand, as we have talked about many times, offensively they have the players, but they are not scoring. So it doesn't really matter that you have Zaha if you are not scoring the goals. So Palace is really in troubles right now, if you ask me. And I think on the other hand with Spurs, this is great for them. Like this is exactly what they needed, getting their main players to finally start scoring goals and also defensively not concede any goals. So yeah, really great for them. But I do think it's too soon to say if this was them being great or just them having a great day. Like I don't know if Spurs is really getting back up there or if they just had a great day. I need to see it more. I need to see it in the next couple of weeks before I really start believing in them becoming a big team again. Because it has not looked great the last couple of games. So I need to see it more games in a row before I really start believing in them again. And again, Palace right now is not the best team. So I need to see it more. But no matter what, 4-0 is really, really impressive. And getting these guys, Son, Kane, getting those guys to start being a part of goals is what Spurs really need. So right now it's looking really, really great. I just need to see it in the next couple of matches as well.
Fair enough. We'll move on to Villa against Wolves. 1-1. A fair result, Warren?
Yes, I do think. I think Villa's doing amazing with the new manager. I think he was just what they needed after the whole Steven Gerrard leaving and then performing so poorly. But I was happy for Wolves actually. They got their noses in front pretty early and they actually held that lead for 70 minutes or for 60 minutes of the game. They held that lead. I actually thought they were going to run away with it until Danny Ings came on as a substitute. 5 minutes later, he scores and it's they share the points. Again, it comes down to Wolves not being able to convert the performances into goals. You can't just score one goal and one or two goals and expect to win. So that's something that they need to work on. It was a fair result. I think it was Villa earned their point by getting back into the game, but Wolves also deserves the point because they held Villa for so long. So yes, 1-1 is fair for me.
Yeah, Wolves are still in the relegation zone after that. Doesn't really make much difference. They probably needed a win. Aston Villa kind of mid-table along with like Palace. They're not really doing anything amazing, but they're not losing terribly either. It seems kind of in that bottom half of the table. Andreas?
Yeah, I think with Wolves, I feel like it's starting to go the right way. Is it going fast enough? Is it enough what they're doing? I don't know yet. But I think right now it's slightly going the right way. They're starting to score a little bit of goals. Is it enough to win the matches? Not really, but at least they are starting to score. Before the break, I think they had very very limited goals, I'm not sure about this, but I think they have scored more goals after the break that they did in the entire first half. I'm not sure, but I think they are. So already that's pretty impressive. So it's going the right way, but I don't know if it's enough, and it's clear not enough when the other teams score against you. So too soon to say if they will survive, but right now it's going a little bit of the right way. With Villa, I'm kind of disappointed with this match for them because I have already talked a lot about how excited I am about Unai Emery. I think I'm really impressed about how they could get him. Like Villa is a mid-table club in Premier League right now. We're talking about a man that has been in Arsenal, I think PSG as well in the past. He was in Villarreal before he went to Villa. That's a pretty big team in La Liga. So I was really impressed about them getting him. And I expected more than I have seen so far. With that said, I still think he's doing a great job. And I think it's all about it taking time and he will get there. And he is still very new to this. And he has already made some really great performances. So I expect more, but I also need to be realistic and understand that he is very new to this team, and it will take time. But yeah, I expected a Villa win. I absolutely did. I thought Villa will win pretty big in this match. So yeah, I was surprised about that, but again, in general, I think he can do more, but I also see it happening. I think it will take time, but I think he can be really great for Villa.
Yeah. The Lopetegui project obviously taking shape now at Wolves. Leeds 2, West Ham 2. Pretty much a fair result given where the two teams are at the moment. A late Rodrigo goal 20 minutes from the end kind of saved them. There's only 2 points between the two sides in the league at the moment, so it is neck and neck. So to be fair, I think that was probably a fair result. Andreas, any thoughts on this game particularly?
It was pretty crazy. Like it was a pretty crazy game to watch, and we are talking about two teams that don't want to get relegated. They will do whatever it takes. Even two teams that has not really scored the most amount of goals, they are just like, this is not going to happen. We need to score. We need to win. So yeah, I'm really impressed about both teams' mentality in this match. They never gave up and they kept going. And I think it's a fair result. I think both teams has a lot of problems in every aspect of the game, offensively, defensively, every aspect. So I'm impressed to see that they actually really gave it their all offensively. Defensively, it was not the best for either of the teams, of course, when you concede 2 goals. But no matter what, they both really fought for this, and I think a draw is fair. But I kind of felt like West Ham was the better team, not by a lot, but a little bit. So I think they can be a little bit disappointed with this. But no matter what, a pretty close match, and yeah, I think a draw is fair at the end of the day.
Fair enough. Warren?
Yeah, I think Leeds were the more aggressive team out of the two. If you watch the game, I never count Leeds out, so I never count them out of a game. West Ham have been mediocre at best for the entire campaign. So I'm not surprised that they in the bottom of the log right now, bottom three. That bottom three changed. I remember I posted in the chat several times. Now this one is now out and this one is out. It's every time another person scores, then the other person go back in. So it was this, yo-yo effect going through on the night. However, I do believe Wisdom got lucky with the penalty. And if it wasn't for that penalty, Leeds probably would have won the game. So I do believe that penalty actually changed the course of the game um, for both sides. So yeah, a draw is fine. West Ham needs to really, really stop conceding goals if they want to get out of that relegation zone. And Leeds have proven that they have the gusta to come out of the to come to battle out of a sticky situation. So I never count them out. They've got a great squad with Somerville and Harrison and Rodrigo. They've got great players there playing for them. Not saying West Ham doesn't, but I haven't seen much from West Ham to say that they have what it takes to get out of that bottom three because it's been mediocre. It's been just bad for West Ham, and um, they really need to get. I wouldn't say I don't think signings is going to make the difference. I think they need. I don't. I know it sounds bad because we keep saying that. I keep asking why is David Moyes still there? Because he's doing so poorly. Other managers have been sacked for less than that, and the result isn't there. I don't know how. I think they've only got one win so far. I'm not even sure, but it's bad. It's bad for West Ham. So draw was fine because they fought, but I think Leeds was a better team.
Fair enough. Just some breaking news that is just coming in. Chelsea have reached an agreement with Vasco da Gama for teenage midfielder Andre Santos, and Norwich have appointed former Huddersfield coach David Wagner as head
Who
coach.
has? Who has?
Norwich. They've appointed David Wagner, former Huddersfield coach, as head coach following the sacking of Dean Smith. Yeah. Do you know much about Andre Santos, Andreas?
I know him by name. That's about it. But I heard some rumbles about it a few days ago. I'm not even sure what position are we. Do you know that? Do you know what position?
Midfield, I believe.
Once again, another midfielder. Yeah, quickly with that. Like I'm happy about it.
Central mid.
Okay, it's great getting young players, but I don't know. I don't think that's the problem we have right now. I think we need a little bit more top tier people, not necessarily top names, but Nkunku, for example. I think he was the right or is the right man because he's a big name, but he's also young and can do a lot for us. But I'm happy with this young players coming in. I think that's great. But again, midfield is not really the problem we have. So yeah, it's a nice signing, but it's difficult to talk about before I really see it. So yeah.
We'll move on to Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. A Awoniyi goal in the first half. The difference between the two sides, and a big result for Nottingham Forest in the relegation race, and a result that actually lifts them out of the relegation zone. Nottingham Forest, they're just starting now to look good. They're up to 15th place now, albeit they're only 2 points off the relegation zone. There's literally 2 points between 13th and 18th.
It's insane.
Crazy. It's so tight there at the bottom. Anyone from Leicester down to Everton could get relegated. But yeah, a huge result. Nottingham Forest, they seem to be putting together a few results now. They obviously the Chelsea draw, win over Southampton. This was huge, though, Warren.
Yes, it was. It was. We said it in the build up to this match last week, also in the last podcast, that this was going to be the one match to watch, and because it was the scrap at the bottom for who's going to get out. Southampton, couple of chances. They did at the beginning. Shea Adams missed a crucial shot. It went wide. He hadn't gotten that goal in. Ward-Prowse still couldn't get the two free kicks. Missed it. Couldn't get it in close to the penalty box. They had chances. They didn't capitalize on it. Forest. I know with Forest, if they get a lead, they like bloodhounds. They don't let go of that lead. And I don't think Dean Henderson uniform, his kit, even got dirty because he didn't have to make one single save in that entire game, which is amazing. I think he's one of the best keepers, one of them in the league this season, and he's one of the reasons why Nottingham Forest is still like not as bad as the other teams. But anything can happen. They did deserve the win, and I don't have hope for Southampton. I don't. I said it at the beginning already. I think they're gonna get relegated. It's bad. The new manager didn't make any difference. He doesn't have any wins under his belt. Nathan Jones, and Forest just needs to keep the momentum. They need to be confident now. Keep the momentum going. I'm not sure who they're facing next. I think it's Man United. I'm not sure. No. They didn't face Man United.
Southampton have Palace in the FA Cup on the weekend.
And Forest has Blackpool, I think. I'm not sure. But I'm specifically speaking about the Premier League. I just want to see who they are facing.
Premier League, Forest play Leicester. Southampton have Everton.
Ooh. So it's again another bottom of the table fight. But I do believe Forest has it in them to beat Leicester. They can. Leicester's been poor, but again, Forest as a whole is doing well. He fielded the same 11, so I hope that he takes this. He fielded the same 11 that faced Chelsea, so I hope he takes this now and makes a snapshot. This is the team that I need to carry me. Brennan Johnson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Henderson. Those are the players, the key players. I know Lingard is injured and they've got a couple of players missing, but I think this is the 11 that he needs to focus on now going forward. They need to build on their confidence, get to score more goals. One goal is not enough. In this instance, it was for against Chelsea they could get a point. They got 3 points here. So now it's about momentum. They need to do what Newcastle did last season and start, building momentum, getting more points on the board, so that they get out of that. And we could see that maybe Bournemouth get relegated and Forest stay up because it's like this yo-yo now. I'm not worried about Fulham. So, Forest needs the momentum to go up. Southampton, I don't know.
Good luck in championship.
I don't know. I don't know about Southampton. I think I know they're busy with the transfer. They're busy in the transfer market now with getting players. But I think I don't know. Southampton it's a bit of a mess there.
Fair enough, Andreas.
Yeah, I think quickly with Southampton, I don't think there's much to do anymore. I think the ship has sailed, to be honest. They need to go down in championship, build something strong up. If or when they go down into championship, they will be a very strong team compared to the other teams, of course. So I think that's just what needs to happen. I don't think they can in any way survive this season. They need to go down and build themselves back up. And with Forest, I think what Warren says is extremely spot on with the formation and lineup and stuff like that, because that is the problem with Forest. Forest has a really, really strong squad with all the players that they signed in the last window. They obviously have a really, really strong squad. The problem just is that they signed so many new players. They were not able to make it work together on the pitch. And that's what's starting to work right now for Forest. They play the same players, at the same lineup, all that kind of stuff, and it's working. Is it enough right now? I don't know. A draw with us is great for them, but like 1 point is not enough to survive. Beating Southampton, that's a very, very bad team at the moment. Honestly, I think Southampton is the only bad team in Premier League right now. Like all the others, that's very inconsistent, but Southampton is the only one I think is straight up bad at the moment. So beating them 1-0 is not a great result, but it's building momentum. Getting a draw with us is building momentum. So for Nottingham, it's absolutely going good right now. Building some momentum, finding the right lineup. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for Nottingham right now. And you said Leicester is their next opponent in
Yeah.
and I agree with Warren in that. Like I guess I have Leicester as my favorites, but I can see Nottingham win that. And I think that also just alone says so much about Nottingham, that you can actually see a lot of potential in that team. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see what Nottingham does in the next coming matches.
I do agree with Warren actually that Nottingham Forest need to score more goals, because I do feel like 1-0 wins aren't going to get them far. They need to kind of start winning 2-3-0, start winning convincingly, not just a lucky goal. They need to start showing something different, that they have what it takes to survive. I think that's I think 1-0 wins, scoring 1 goal a match isn't going to get them far, and I think they could do with maybe another striker or something, a little bit more creativity in January just to help them, because I think they have a decent squad and I think they can stay up. They just need to show more, I think. We'll move on. Back over to Tuesday.
I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
No, go on, sorry. Go on, Andreas.
No, I just quickly wanted to say with Forest that clearly against a team like Southampton, it's okay to only win with 1 goal. But Leicester could easily go out and score some goals. The other teams as well. So that I completely agree. That is something Nottingham need to think about and do something about, because the other teams will score against them. So 1 goal is not enough, clearly.
Fair enough. So Tuesday, United 3-0 against Bournemouth, a pretty comfortable win. Mm-hmm. Bournemouth didn't really pose too much of a threat. It was very easy. Marcus Rashford with another goal. I know that it was pretty comfortable from what I was watching. I was watching this one rather than the Arsenal-Newcastle game, so you'll be able to tell me more about that one. I can tell you more about this one. Brilliant header from Casemiro, a brilliant volley from Casemiro from a Christian Eriksen free for the first goal. Second one was a Luke Shaw knock-in, and then the third one was knock-in from Marcus Rashford from a Bruno cross. It feels like more like the Bournemouth defence were poor. That from those goals, you can kind of say that, look, the Bournemouth, that they were caught napping a lot at the back, that they weren't necessarily great at defending, that rather than United necessarily being amazing. Bournemouth were just really good, but you have to give credit for United for finding the gaps and creating the opportunities. And they are starting to put a few runs together now. They are starting to look a decent team. They're building some form, which is only a good thing, especially considering who they have to play next weekend in the Premier League. The Manchester Derby, they play City next week, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But they seem to be doing well. And they rotated the backs. Even Maguire and Lindelof looked solid at the back. There was no real issues there. They're just able to rotate the team now. And they've got Martinez back. They've got Dalot back. There's a lot of options in defence now, which is only a good thing. Guys aren't getting tired. Up front, I still think there are some issues. Obviously, Van der Beek came in and played in the 10, which allowed Bruno to go up front, which allowed, because I think Anthony was injured. So I think there are still some gaps up front, but everywhere else they have options now. Andreas, thoughts on the game? I think Bournemouth are in trouble though, for sure.
What?
I think Bournemouth are in trouble though, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the key in this. That not to take anything away from United. I think United is doing a great job right now. Ten Hag has really found his way in this squad, and I think the squad as well is looking really, really strong. Offensively, a little bit of problems. I agree with that, but I think in general it's going very, very well. But with that said, like, I don't know what's going on with Bournemouth. Like, I'm really, really surprised about that. I think they were ninth in the table at some point, and now they are like 14 or 15 or something like that. And it's just crazy. Like, they went on break doing really, really well. It looked great, and now it's just completely gone terrible. I guess they had a few bad matches before the break, but it's just really now that I really see how bad it's going for them right now. So I'm worried about them because I think they did really, really well. It looked pretty good for them, and now it's just bad. So yeah, I'm pretty worried for Bournemouth, but not to take anything away from United. It's a strong team, but Bournemouth is looking pretty bad.
Fair enough. Warren?
Yeah, United is flying. They're flying right now. I think signing Kellogg was the best thing they could have done. He's got that killer instinct mind. He knows what he wants. He knows how to put the plan together, execute it, and if something doesn't work, he takes it out and implements something new. I do think Garnacho is one of the best players that United could have snatched up in the short while. He's doing amazingly for them. Rashford, he's one of my favorite United players right now to watch, to be honest with you. And I mean, he's amazing. And his form, I just hope he stays in form like this for the rest of the season, for United's sake. I do, and coming from a Liverpool supporter, that's it's tough for me to say, but I do want the best for the team. I wouldn't want any team to do badly. United is doing great, even with the injuries. They've still got their bench is even strong. So I think it's gonna go. They're gonna get some wobbles, especially with the City game coming up. But City has proven that there's cracks. Other teams can beat them. So if Brentford can beat City, United can do the same. United has been on this tear right now. Bournemouth, when Gary O'Neill was interim manager, they did amazingly. As soon as they made him permanent, things just started to decline a little bit. So it's a weird thing. And I know you guys have
relegation zone and everything now.
Everything is going like this for them, and it's tough because the fixtures aren't getting better. And let me just see, Bournemouth is facing Brentford next, and that's not going to be an easy fixture. Even without Tony, you've got Wissa, you've got Bemo, they've got all these strong players. Those players don't miss. And Bournemouth, I don't know, like you said, they were caught snapping a lot in the game, and can't do that. You can't do that in the Premier League, especially against United. 3-0, I expected more goals, to be honest. When I saw the highlights, I expected more goals, but 3 different goal scorers, 3 different assist makers says a lot. So I'm hoping for them that they can get a good result against City. I actually want them to beat City. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But United is in great shape right now. Just hope that they can keep the team fit.
Yeah. It's good to see that the kind of goals and stuff coming from different players and different positions. That it's not just the forwards, that you have the likes of Luke Shaw scoring, Casemiro scoring, that it's not just the forwards, that they have goals everywhere in the team, that it's not just one player, which is good to see. I think Rashford seems to have a lot more freedom since Ronaldo left. He sort of seemed to have blossomed now and kind of found his... Now that he's the main man, I think maybe he was kind of overshadowed a little bit by Ronaldo being there. And now he seemed to just be able to flourish. But yeah, good times for United at the moment. Long may it continue. Long may it continue. Everton against Brighton also on Tuesday. Everton is so inconsistent. They go from drawing with City, and looking solid to losing comfortably to Brighton. It just doesn't make any sense. Warren, help me understand here.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's like with Everton, it's like I always compare this to like, whatever like packets of sweets that you get it at the grocery store. You open it and there's like a lucky surprise inside, but you don't know when it's gonna be a good toy or a bad
Yeah.
toy. I always compare teams like Everton to something like that because you don't know what you're gonna get. They do well against City, getting a point, but then they come to Brighton, which all right, I'm not knocking Brighton because Brighton has been this new Roberto, that Roberto guy is doing an amazing job there. But he's doing a great. I think he's doing one of the best jobs as a new manager coming in midway through the season, and he's doing well. But Everton, I looked at the stats, and Frank Lampard's winning percentage is 23% out of 100 right now. And you can't make the excuse that he's new because he's not new. He's been there now for a while. So something is happening. And I'm not saying Frank Lampard is the issue, but they've got more losses than wins. And I don't know. I don't foresee Everton being as lucky as they were last season. I really don't. I think they need to get more people in their squad. Even their big signing that's fit now, not big signing, but the big star Dominic Calvin-Lewin, he's fit now, but he's not getting the goals. He's not getting the service. Where is Gordon? Where is Mopey? You don't see these people. All you see is of Tamari Grand. It would have been happened if it wasn't for that flimsy penalty that Brighton gave away. And if you look at Brighton, it's the young stars, new young stars that's scoring Ferguson, Matoma, and if I'm scared. I'm actually scared for Everton, to be honest, because and it's not just because I'm a Liverpool supporter and they one of our biggest rivals. I'm genuinely scared for them because they're a big club, and if they get relegated, it's gonna be massive. My opinion. Brighton deserved to win 3 goals in like 5 minutes. You can't write this. You can't make this up. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. So and Brighton is flying, and I'm actually fearing for Liverpool because that's who we're facing next. And I don't even want to go there because I mean, look at the squad. Trossard is not even scoring, and they're winning.
Yeah.
So yeah, Everton needs to go on their knees and pray for a miracle in the transfer window. They get a decent striker that can actually get them goals because they're not scoring. They're not scoring. You can't just defend. You can't just depend on defense. Being a strong defensive is not going to get you anywhere especially if you're conceding 4 goals.
Yeah, no, Mitoma and Evan Ferguson seem to be the breakthrough stars at the moment for Brighton, really starting to shine. For Everton, I don't think you can necessarily blame Frank Lampard. I don't think Lampard is the problem. Like, if you look at the managers they've had over the last few years, they've had Rafa Benitez, they've had Carlo Ancelotti, they've had Marco Silva, Sam Allardyce, Ronald Koeman, Roberto Martinez. All top managers that could not do anything at Everton. They could not do anything. They could not make anything happen. Everton have not been the same team, have not been a decent team since the days of David Moyes, when he guided them into the European positions. It's a mess. I think you can't just blame Frank Lampard because it's not just him. Big managers have gone there and failed. And so for me, it seems like there's a bigger problem that needs to be sorted rather than it just being Frank Lampard's fault. Andreas, quick thoughts?
I will say with what you said there, Ancelotti did pretty well in Everton. I think they went pretty far with him, but he got a job offer from Real Madrid, so he left. But that's the truth. But no, I actually agree with you, and we have talked about Lampard for a while now. And is Lampard the problem, or is he not? And I think the right answer to all of that is he's not the problem, but he's not the right man to fix the problem either. And I think that's how I kind of look at it. I don't think he's the problem, but he's not the right one to fix whatever the problem is, because he is there still very, very new as a manager, not in Everton, but he's like, he was in some smaller clubs that went to Chelsea, now Everton, and I think he needs to go a little bit in a smaller club, maybe Championship, maybe even smaller in that, maybe Scottish football, something like that, to build himself up, and then we can take it from there, because I think he has the potential to be a great manager, but I don't think he is there right now. He's still very new to understanding that side of football as a manager, and I don't think, whatever the problem with Everton is, I don't think he's the one that can solve that problem right here and right now. And I really don't see him surviving this season. Can someone else fix it? That's the problem. But no matter what, I don't think he can solve it right now. So yeah, I think he needs to go, and I hate it because I love Lampard, but I don't think he can solve whatever the problem is. And I think also, I've said it before, that Lampard loves the attacking football, and Everton is not great at that right now. Defensively, Everton has the players. I think they have a good defense, but that's not the way Lampard is used to playing. He's much more comfortable with the offensive football, and they just simply don't have the players to really do much offensively. So yeah, I just don't think Lampard and Everton is a good combination right now, and I think it's better for him to do something else. With that said, Brighton is also a really, really strong team, and wow, that manager has done something amazing. And it's just like, just think about it. Having Potter at first, that's doing amazingly. Now we get a new manager, and it's going as well, if not even better. I don't know what's going on with Brighton, but they really know what to do to make the managers shine. So yeah, Brighton is really, really good right now, and I don't think they will get to Champions League, but I can see them coming very close to that. So yeah.
Fair enough. We'll move on to the final game of the week, which was Arsenal 0-0 with Newcastle. Both sides cancelled each other out. Warren, I know you were watching this and have a lot of opinions. Please do share with us.
Oh my goodness, frustrating to watch actually. But I actually was rooting for both of them, so getting a draw was the most favorable out of the two, especially FPL reasons. I was just happy, clean sheets. So I actually knew that it would be tough because Newcastle don't concede goals, Arsenal does. So the fact that Arsenal didn't concede any goals is a big tick for me. I mean, the fact that Newcastle still retained that, that attitude, that confidence that they had against the leaders of the league right now, they were able to do what other teams couldn't do, and that is hold Arsenal to get a point against them. So that's a big feat in the cup. So I think both teams did well. There was a lot of chances. Saka had chances, Martinelli had chances. Wilson had chances, Joe Linton had chances. It was a very scrappy game. They almost came to blows at one point, and it was the most yellow cards that I've seen in one game. I don't think, I'm surprised I didn't see a red one come out. I couldn't keep track anymore of who was on the yellow and who was not. It was just crazy. It was a crazy match to watch. Normally I hate 0-0 matches, but this one was actually entertaining. It's just the goals wasn't there. But a fair 1 point to each team but it's Arsenal now, just it closes the gap now between them and City. So that's the only bad takeaway from a good match.
I believe that actually the gap is actually the same as it was when they came back from the World Cup. 5 points. I don't think there was much of a gap between. I think it's the same gap between Arsenal and City, because I think City dropped points last week to Everton. So
yes, it was 7.
Arsenal made up the points last week when they kind of went ahead when City drew, and then obviously Arsenal
but
got
yeah,
points this week, so City made up the ground back. So, Andreas?
Yeah, I think like usually after a draw, you can argue like what team did win that match, like who honestly won it, who gained more from this draw and who performed the best. And I think honestly with this match, I think both teams won. I think Arsenal showed that when it comes to defense, they can actually do really really well, and Newcastle has scored a lot of goals. So I think that's absolutely a win for Arsenal that they didn't concede any goals. But I also think in the other end, Arsenal has been extremely dangerous offensively, and almost kind of like City in their way of playing offensive football and being amazing at it. So I think that's also a win for Newcastle, that they were able to really show how great their defense actually is, because you already knew it, but when you really go out and make Arsenal not score against you, you really show that you are doing a really good job with your defense. So I think defensively both teams just really showed how great they are, and I don't think this is anything about the offensive not being good. I think both offensive are really great. Both defensive teams are just even better, and I think that's what we saw here. Just two really great defensively teams. So yeah, a great match and really really exciting and a good result for both teams. So yeah.
There was talks that Arsenal kind of robbed a little bit. There was a penalty, shirt pulling in the box. Either of you want to comment on that?
You start on. Oh, we can't use. We can't hear you on.
Sorry, I got a message on my phone and I got distracted.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay. Yeah, I can
What
start.
was the question?
We're just talking about that there was a penalty debate for Arsenal. Shirt pulling, supposed rugby tackle in the box.
I don't know. It was tough to call. I think it was Gabriel that was involved there. It was tough to call. For me, it wasn't clear and obvious, so I don't really have an opinion on it. So for me, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I think for me it's like it's a part of the sport and it needs to be that way. But I'm honestly getting a little bit tired of all the talking about, oh, that should have been a penalty, oh, that and that, because I think there's so much of it, and like I know that the refs, they make terrible mistakes sometimes. They do, and that's something that should never be forgotten and something that everyone needs to look into, of course. But like we need to at some kind of level also believe that the refs know what they're doing. And I think it's getting a little bit too much. Like I think there's a lot of games right now where it's like, oh, that should have been a penalty, and we can talk about it for days about how terrible it is that was not a penalty. And like it needs to be clear and obvious in my opinion for it to be a penalty, and I don't think that was in this case. So I think it's fair. But in general, I am getting a little bit tired of all that talk about penalties.
Yeah. I know Arteta was very unhappy. You can see
Of course he was. That's also something I quickly want to say. That it was not an argument, but it was really nice. We just talked about the Tuchel and Conte situation a few weeks ago. It was nice to see, and we have seen it a lot of other times as well. But it's nice to see Arteta and Newcastle's manager. I forget his name all the time.
Eddie Howe.
There you go. Thank you both of you. But yeah, it's great to see these managers actually caring and being angry, and they almost didn't want to give each other the hand after the match. They ended up doing it, but they were not happy with it. And like I think that's nice sometimes. I think it's nice sometimes to see that they really care and it means a lot. As long as you can be a grown up and end up giving each other the hand, then I think it's fun to see that they actually care a lot and don't always like what the refs decides.
Fair enough. There was one more game. Leicester lost 1-0 to Fulham. A Mitrovic goal. which made Warren very happy because he captained Mitrovic because of the double game week, even though Mitrovic actually misses out next week. But the luck had it that he ended up scoring anyway. I'll come to you, Warren.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna. You and Richard just need to stop with your FPL stuff, obsessing over my team. Because look what it brought you. Look what it brought you. Haaland blanked because you rejoiced that he got sent off and now he doesn't play. So it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. At least he got a goal in. But yeah, pretty comfortable win for Fulham. I feel like Leicester just hasn't been the same without Madison. I think that's the person that they need. If he's not there, even he's a midfielder, but he's like the Odegaard of to Arsenal. Madison is that glue. He's not there. They're not performing well. They're making sloppy mistakes in front. They're making sloppy mistakes at the back. They can't convert any of their chances into goals. Fulham is a strong team. They press and they don't stop. They're relentless. Um, One of the most enjoyable teams to watch coming up from the promotion. They're doing much better than they did the last time they come up into the Premier League. So, full picks to Marco Silva and how he's managing the team from the Championship up to the Premier League. He's done amazing. Fulham has done amazing, and I foresee them going really, really far in this league. I don't think they're getting relegated any time soon, and Leicester, there's big problems there. I do hope that Brendan Rodgers gets the support from um, the Leicester bosses this time around, and he actually gets players. He can't decide one person, and then that person doesn't even feature for the first half of the season. Can't even remember the one person they signed. I don't think he played. But he really needs to get his hands dirty with the transfer market to get some players in to fill those gaps for Madison and get some people in that's going to score the goals because, Jamie Vardy is not getting any younger. He's not getting the service. He's not getting the goals in. He's only scored in the Carabao Cup, I think. That's all. That's the only place that it is scored so far. We'll see how they do on Saturday in the FA Cup. But Leicester's got these problems, these big problems there that they need to sort out. They've been inconsistent, and like Harry said when we discussed the other games, there's like 2-3 points separating from 13th place downwards. So you have to win these matches, especially if it's not Arsenal or Newcastle or a City or United that you're facing. You need to win these small battles that you not taking away anything from the other team. Fulham is great, but this is a match that Leicester in the past should have won, and they're not doing it. They're not getting the points. They've lost to Liverpool to their own accord. They lost to Fulham. Not a great start to the second half of the season for them, and they're starting as poorly as they started the first half of the season. So there's a lot of homework to be done there.
Fair enough, Andreas. Quick thoughts.
Yeah, I think as much as we talk about Newcastle and Brighton as these teams to really fight against top six, I think Fulham is about to be in that same conversation. Yeah. I don't know if I think they can be on that level for the rest of the season. I don't know if they quite have the squad for that. But time will tell, and for right now, they are absolutely doing amazing. And I think it's seven or something in the league. 7 or 8.
Seventh, yeah. They're ahead of Chelsea.
Yeah, everyone is, to be honest. So
they're level on points with Liverpool.
Yeah. So that just says a lot. Like they are doing really, really well. I think they are ahead of Brighton as well, if I'm not mistaken.
They are, yeah.
And that alone just says so much in that conversation about fighting top six. Fulham is doing really, really well, and again, can they do it for a whole season? I don't know yet, but right now it's doing really, really well, and it don't look like they are about to lose momentum or anything. It just looks like they keep getting better and better and better. So yeah, pretty impressive. On the other hand, Leicester is really frustrating to me because I finally felt like it was going the right direction, as we have talked about for a while, and now it's just going the wrong direction once again. And it's it's annoying. Like it's frustrating to see such a great club like Leicester that has done so much in the last 10 years just completely crumble like this. And I think Rowan is right. Madison is the guy they really need, and he's not there, and it's really not doing good for them. So I think they really need something in this transfer window. And I hope that the owners see that and understand that they need to build something here. And because it's just not working. And that's also the thing with Vardy, one of their best ever, starting to get older, not really working anymore. They need to get some younger players and need to start build themselves up once again. I think Leicester the last couple of seasons has been a lot of this, like their best players they sell to the other big team, to the bigger teams, and I think we are starting to see that kind of problem right now, where they're losing too many of the best players. The other great players are getting older, and I think that's a problem. So I think they really need to do something in this transfer window, because they really need it. And this is a match that Fulham is a great team, but this is a match that, like a year ago, you will say that Leicester should easily have won. So there really are some problems there, and they need to really get it together, because they can't even be sure about surviving, like a lot of other teams can't either. So yeah.
Crazy to see the rise of Fulham, considering they only came up from the Championship this season.
Yeah.
They're newly promoted. It's crazy. We'll quickly have a look at the FA Cup fixtures for the weekend. They're scrolling across the bottom of your screen. The big ones, anyway, involving the Premier League teams. Thanks to Warren for posting that in the group chat earlier. The FA Cup, not what it used to be. Back in the 90s, it used to be the height of football, but like I feel now with all the money in the Premier League, there's so much focus on the Premier League and the Champions League, the FA Cup kind of just gets left behind, and like teams don't really care about it as much, which is a shame. Any particular fixtures stand out to you there, Andreas?
I would start to say it's still bigger than Carabao Cup though.
True.
So it's not quite on the bottom yet. But yeah, Chelsea and City obviously stands out.
Rematch.
Yeah, I think if City had won against us 3-0, I would have been like, I'm not even going to watch this shit. But I think after seeing the game, I want to see it, and I think it's going to be an interesting game. Will City win again? Probably, but I think it's still going to be really interesting to see, and it's clear that we do have chances of winning. So really excited for that one. The other one I'm thinking a lot about is Brentford versus West Ham. I think that's an interesting one. That match also just happened a few weeks ago in Premier League, so that's a rematch. I expect Brentford to win, but I also think but I also feel like West Ham do have a little bit of chances when it comes to FA Cup and stuff like that. Like we are seeing in Europa, that they are doing a pretty decent job there. I think West Ham is more focused right now about the tournaments than the league, and they have shown to be better in the tournaments. So I'm excited for that one as well. But there's a bunch. Like I think Bournemouth versus Burnley can be interesting as well. A lot of,
especially with Bournemouth struggling at the moment, Burnley could really cause them problems.
Burnley is not a team to underestimate at all. Liverpool versus Wolves as well, interesting. Cardiff Leeds. There's a bunch of interesting matches.
Middlesbrough actually against Brighton could be interesting. Michael Carrick in charge of Middlesbrough. He's actually really revamped the team's fortunes. They seem to be doing really well. If Brighton make a few changes and lose a bit of momentum, Middlesbrough could easily make an upset, I feel. Yep. Liverpool Wolves, like Andrea said, could be interesting. Liverpool not in the greatest of form at the moment. Especially if
as
there are a few
Wolves.
changes. Not that Wolves have goal scoring threat, but yeah, United.
Everton United.
Yeah, Everton United will be interesting, especially if United make a few changes. You never know. You just never know with Everton what they're going to do from week to week. That's the problem. I think United should win that easily, though. Palace, Southampton,
Yeah.
and that's obviously going to be an interesting one because they're so close together in the table. Spurs, Portsmouth, years ago, that would have been a huge tie. Like I remember back in the 2008, that was like the FA Cup final. Like when likes of Peter Crouch was playing with Portsmouth, David James in the goal. I remember memories of Portsmouth playing in the FA Cup. They used to be a huge FA Cup team. Yeah, Warren.
Yeah, quickly, United, Everton. It's going to be interesting for me because I want to see how the teams line up because especially with the matches that just happened, it's so close together. So it's going to be interesting the lineups for all these teams. United, Everton. I'm going to be watching that match. It's going to be a tasty affair, that one.
I'm raging and
and
working for that, but I will be listening to it on the radio. But I'm raging, I'm working.
And Liverpool Wolves because Gapco was going to start. He was in training, so that's gonna be interesting to watch. The Villa match because I'm just liking what I'm seeing from them right now. City versus Chelsea. I want to see if Chelsea can lick their wounds and come back stronger this time around. Maybe Potter make some decent decisions this time around with his squad. Hull and Fulham, actually really nice fixtures. That's it's all interesting. I don't really normally follow the FA Cup, but let's see what happens.
Fair enough. That is it from us.
Harry, why don't you see my
There's
finger?
a light behind your finger, so it's hard.
Oh,
to
sorry,
see.
Andreas. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just put up the other one.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Andreas.
it's okay. I'm just joking. No, what I wanted to say, I forgot now. What I wanted to say is that like that's also a thing that I completely forgot, but of course really really important that like all the matches are so close to each other. So the Premier League teams, like Leeds, Villa, all these teams, they will probably not set their best team. And I think that can be really interesting when it comes to teams like Burnley, for example. They have a pretty good squad. I think they can do a lot against against the Bournemouth team that's not doing great right now. And if there's also saving some players for later. So I think a lot of these teams that's not Premier League, they can really surprise because I expect a lot of Premier League teams to not set their best team.
Yeah, they'll all make changes for sure. Especially with the quarterfinals of the League Cup next week and Premier League fixtures coming thick and fast. There's just no break that they need to make changes.
Is League Cup fixtures next week?
The League Cup quarterfinals are midweek next week.
Oh my goodness!
So there's no rest.
And then the next weekend is again Premier League. Oh my goodness, this is crazy.
Warren, I'm not sure if you're seeing the private chat there.
Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, might as well do it now because it's already been so long. It's 1 hour 30 minutes almost. Let's just get it over with.
Yeah, let's do it. Then we can always talk about it later. But yeah, let's just do it for a little bit of fun.
Yeah. So we are going to do our predictions game. We haven't done that since the World Cup. So basically, how this works is we each pick two predictions each from the weekend, and then the rest of us decide how many points go towards each one or three. One is for easy, basic predictions that are likely to happen. 3 is bold. So yeah, we'll start with the man himself, the creator of this game, Mr. Andreas Burrell.
Are we going with FA or are we going with Premier League?
Probably
FA Cup, since there's only FA Cup games this week?
Yeah, we have to do FA. Yeah, of course. Yeah, because Premier League is in a while. Okay, 2 predictions. Chelsea beat City.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to say a specific player, but I don't know who that should have been. Like I really don't know who could score the goals for us. And if I said Aubameyang, I should honestly get 10 points. So I don't want to go with that. So I'm just sticking to the most safe I can get, and that's Chelsea beating City, and that's still not safe whatsoever. What else? Let's go a little bit Danish and say that Eriksen will be a part of either a goal or make an assist.
Who?
Eriksen, United.
Eriksen, okay.
Yeah. If he's even playing, because again, who knows?
There's no guarantee to know who's going to play.
Yeah.
I'd imagine there'll be a few changes, but anyway. 3 points for each, Warren, or 3 points for Chelsea beat City and 1 for Eriksen?
Yeah, this one is tough. I'll say 3 points for the Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 1 for the United prediction, because we're not sure whether Eriksen is going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warren, over to you.
Exposed there, but I'm gonna say, oh my goodness, not this again. It's always tough for me for these predictions. Let's say it's difficult because it's not gonna be the best teams that they're gonna put forward. I'm gonna say United will beat Everton. That's probably 1 point, but that's fine. I'll take it. And let's see. I'm gonna go bold here and say Bournemouth will beat Burnley.
Is that really bold?
Is that really bold? That's
Burnley is at the top of the championship right now. Just remember that.
I could easily go either way, to be fair.
Yeah.
Andreas, what do you think?
The first one is easily a 1 point, but Warren admitted that himself. So, because we just started, let's be nice and say 3 points to the other one. But I think it's very in the middle of, you can argue for 1 point, you can also argue for 3 points. But I'm okay with 3 points for Bournemouth. Burnley.
Make it 2.
Yeah,
make it 2 points then.
I think 3 is okay. I think it's fair.
Fair enough. I'm going to say Middlesbrough to beat Brighton, and
Wow. Damn.
3 points.
Yeah.
I'm
10 points.
doing a good job with Middlesbrough at the moment.
3 points.
Take Burnley winning.
I don't want to go with the same ones that you guys.
No, Andreas.
That could be a fun one.
I will go with Gakpo to score or get an assist against Wolves.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
The first one is 3 points. Easily.
Yeah, 3 points for the Middlesbrough versus Bright. Is it Brighton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one is tricky.
Because you're not guaranteed that he's going to start. He will play. I know he's going to play. But yeah, let's say 1 point for Gakpo. Because it's his first game.
Yeah, fair
He
enough.
might surprise us.
Yeah.
Especially against Wolves.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's really difficult.
Because the other team I would have said 3 points, but Wolves.
Yeah, true. But it's really difficult talking about a player that have never played in that club in that league.
He'll definitely play, but especially with all those injuries, he's playing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, 1 point is fine.
Fair enough. That is it from us. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe below. We are done. Thank you very much. We will see you on Tuesday. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you Tuesday.